Well, well,
Well, there you are.
well's a very deep subject, isn't it?
It can be.
Unless it's a shallow well. Good morning, I'm Rayford Brown.
And good morning, I'm Lee Barrows.
And I'm Kelly Knapp.
And welcome to the Friday. Thank goodness it is Friday, and the weather's looking pretty good all weekend long. So,
Beautiful.
get ready for a bodacious time. And go ahead and make a note of our telephone number this morning.
Yes, 910-333-0139.
910-333-0139, just in case we say something that you want to make get a ringy-dingy to, or get in a hurry.
Yeah.
You can do so.
Yell at us.
Okay. No football tonight for Jacksonville High.
I have my shirt on anyway.
Well, we're supporting them because they got to get ready for next weekend
That's right.
and the weekend after, and homecoming is on the 1st of November.
Yes.
1st
1st of November.
1st of November.
So you did find out.
Yeah, Drew sent me a message yesterday.
Oh, that's right. Thank you, Drew.
Yes, always. Drew's somebody got to keep me in
We'll
line.
see you there, Drew.
We will see you
We're
there.
saving your seat.
Yeah, well, we'll put your name on it too if you want.
That's right.
We'll draw.
We're going to hold up a sign that says Drew.
We'll draw Drew on the seat.
Okay.
Write it down. Okie dokie. This is the same old mess is still going on. Can't believe it's just been a week ago. You were stranded.
Yes.
At this point in
It
time,
has been a week.
you were
hasn't it?
stuck.
Stuck in the mountains.
Yeah, and a big old hurricane came ashore down in Florida. 140-mile-per-hour sustained winds, a Cat 4, and did a lot of damage down there, as hurricanes do when they hit land. Still came up. It still stayed a major hurricane for a lot longer than they thought it was going to, up into Georgia,
Right.
and then started diminishing. It was diminishing, but it had a long way to go to get back down. When it got up there to 140-mile-per-hour sustained winds, it's hard to stop a train, basically, or a hurricane.
That's a good analogy. It's hard to stop a train because it came barreling in. Because where we were at, we were supposed to be just barely on the
So much for
much.
that.
Atmospheric condition is different.
Well,
Crazy.
and to the state, the western part of the state, North Carolina got hit, I guess, the hardest, is what everybody is saying.
Yeah.
That's what I said was
Yes.
going to end up being the thing.
And the
Yep.
western part out there, man, what a mess. And it is still there, and it's going to be there for quite some time. Unfortunately, they depend upon winter tourism a lot in that neck of the woods. So it's going to be a painful experience for
Oh,
them.
it is. It is. Well, think about the Christmas trees.
Yeah.
Think about the apples.
Yeah.
Think about all that
Oh,
comes out
yeah,
of the western
yeah.
part of the state.
So we, I hate it for them personally, but economically, it's going to be a major mess for them financially, for their personal losses. It is a major mess.
Come to the beach.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's a tragedy. We'll keep talking about it, no doubt about it. And we'll give you a little bit more information this morning about what you can do, because they're still
Right.
collecting stuff.
Yes.
Did
In
my fan get
Appalachian.
turned off?
I don't think it was ever on.
It was never on.
It
Let me
was
turn it
when
on.
that one was on when I got here because I turned it up a little bit.
Well,
Yep,
I'll turn it back on.
Appalachian State College is closed again all next week.
University now.
University. Okay. Appalachian is closed next week. So no school,
That's better. Thank
no
you.
college classes.
And water still in the parking lots, I saw. So they got a lot of water up there. Water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. That's the problem.
Mhm.
The good people of North Carolina and other states and other areas all over the country, they've been pouring donations into this our region, the western part of the state, as they do to take care of us here in the east quite often. And we're blessed when that happens. Now it's our turn, and we're showing them what it's like because I know they've donated in the past, and we're pouring it on. That's the good
I'm
thing.
so proud of Onslow County.
Mhm.
I know as well as everyone else, the way this county has come out.
They've got the sheriff's office has got several trailers already loaded. They're
Yes.
collecting more, and they're going to a point further north. They're not going to be right there in the Asheville area because Asheville is inundated
Right.
with supplies coming in.
And they have no way to house them, no way
and
to.
so there's more stuff going up towards
Yes.
the north. So if you want to donate down at the sheriff's office parking lot today and tomorrow, they're going to be there and sometime next week. And they're probably going to end up with a tractor trailer load to
Right.
haul out there. So we'll see. Oh, big trucks anyway, for sure.
I do want to give a big shout out because I'm a NASCAR fan.
Yeah.
And NASCAR's right there in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Mhm.
They have really come out. There's one driver, Greg Biffle.
Mhm.
He's taken his private helicopter, been out there all day, every day, rescuing people, dropping supplies. Several other NASCAR drivers that, one, for those that know NASCAR, Joey Logano has donated $250,000 to
Wow.
Samaritan's Purse, along with other drivers. They have their Charlotte Motor Speedway and North Wilkesboro. They have been staging supplies at the Speedway. Plus, Charlotte had opened up the Speedway during the storm for anyone who needed to evacuate
Yeah,
to
that
come
was good.
stay there. So,
That's
kudos
always
to
good.
NASCAR. And then we've got Scotty McCreery, the country singer
Mhm.
from Raleigh, and those were his parts over there. I think he was born and raised in Avery County, and he has sent a lot of money over there. And there's talk of a lot of the country artists down the road doing a
benefit.
benefit concert. So proud of our North Carolina people. There's something, and then Governor DeSantis, what he's doing
Florida.
for North Carolina. My gosh.
Yeah. So,
He
well,
has sent a lot of his troops and people, National Guard, to North Carolina.
well, I'll tell you what, Florida, back in the 90s, even with a couple of hurricanes that when I was down at Curie Beach, some Florida police officers, they come a barreling in here. Didn't even call and ask. They knew where it was. They knew someplace needed some help. Apalachicola. There were 6 cars with some special unit people. They're not SWAT, but they're special emergency response people. They showed up, sirens are blaring when they came into town
right.
after the fact, and to provide relief for one thing, and to discourage looters from because they didn't have any friends here, so they didn't have to worry about offending anyone. So they took care of business, and there was one boat. Believe it or not, a couple of idiots got in a boat over in Southport, all right? Across the river, across the Cape Fear River, and came over and sneaked over to a dirt landing area on the Curie Beach side, the Fort Fisher side, and they pulled their little boat up there, and they were going to get out and they were going to do their little thing, walk around, no doubt about it, what they were up to. Well, they ran into one of those guys.
Oh.
He encouraged them in a manly way to leave and not come back. He scared the bejesus out of them.
I'm
Had
sure.
something to do with what they thought was a hand grenade. It was a tear gas grenade, but they thought it was a hand grenade because that's what he told them it was.
Oh.
So anyway, he said, "I'll drop this thing right in your boat." And they left. So things like that. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And all the guys down at Curie Beach appreciated their help. Believe you can count on that. So when things like that happen, it's good.
Well, they're showing. I mean, you can go on social media, and there's so many outside agencies that have come in, and they'll do videos and stuff. And word is there's already looters out looting people's personal property. I think they should be shot on sight.
I would shoot one on site. They try
I
to get
think they
into my
just need to be
property.
shot.
Yeah.
Shoot them on sight.
Well,
Then
There's
drag
a-
them in the house.
there's a thing.
I wouldn't drag them. I'd film the whole process.
There's a thing called rat shot that you can buy for your 22s and your 38s and your 357
Is that
Magnum.
someone like buckshot?
It's little tiny pellets.
Tiny little
tiny. You're made to shoot rats and snakes with, right? And by the ballistics, you can't trace them to a
Right.
particular gun. But anyway, they burn up close and personal. They burn. They don't kill you. You just take it home with you for a
Right.
souvenir, and it's not pleasant.
Mm.
So that's that would be an opportunity. Just don't shoot them in the face.
Yeah.
District Attorney Ernie Lee has
Yes.
determined that a police-involved shooting death in June was justified. The investigation showed that a man, his name is Jariel Mitchell, was trying to gain entrance into a home on New River Drive about 1:30 in the morning. acting kind of crazy, they said. A female at that residence called 911 and said that Mitchell, her boyfriend, was armed and was trying to break in. Mitchell did get inside and started looking for the occupant. They identified as his girlfriend, the lady who called. Within a couple of minutes, 2 police units were on the scene, parked their cars a short distance, walked up towards the house on foot. Mitchell saw at least officers yelled at him to stay away. Police could see the barrel of Mitchell's rifle protruding from the door. Additional police units arrived. The female caller managed to get out of the house and was carrying a child in her arms. Police heard 1 shot fired from inside the house. 2 other shots had already been fired outside the house before they got there. The girlfriend told police Mitchell was using cocaine and had been violent in the past. SWAT team, special units team arrived. A police psychologist was employed to work with the gunman, trying to calm him down. A drone and a robot showed Mitchell inside the house, sitting in a chair for a while with what appeared to be an AR-style rifle. Turned out they were right. Mitchell aimed his rifle at the robot. Yep, he was going to shoot the robot. Mitchell told the police outside that everyone else in the house was okay. The house was loaded with people.
Not a good situation at all.
He threatened to shoot it out with the police on the scene. Mitchell moved towards the back door. That's when 3 young children and the grandmother inside. That's when they managed to escape through a window. All were safe and uninjured. 2 SWAT officers saw Mitchell crouched down on a back patio. He had made his way outside the house, aiming his rifle at them. They opened fire.
Wow.
They struck Mitchell numerous times before he fell over on the patio. All total, the 2 SWAT officers fired 14 rounds. 3 spent casings from Mitchell's rifle were found, 1 inside the house, the other 2 outside. After the scene was secured, police found another young female hiding in the house. All total, there had been 3 adults and 5 children, not including Mitchell, in the home when Mitchell made entry. D.A. Lee ruled the shooting death was justifiable and was a clear case of self-defense of themselves and or others.
Well, I would tell you what, kudos to JPD for doing such a fabulous
They did.
job. I mean, to pull up there and have a house full of people and somebody,
Yep. And
threatening them with a
doesn't make it any easier for
Weapon?
the 2 guys who opened fire, had to open fire.
Right,
But
right.
that's the way things work sometimes. Mitchell had spent some time in the North Carolina after being convicted for felony possession of narcotics with the intent to sell in the past. So
wow.
he was not an angel by any stretch of the imagination.
I'm certainly glad it all worked out,
Yeah,
because,
I'm glad, and the officers, I'm
it's
sure,
gonna be a hard
will
thing.
be returning to duty. But
Right.
it's still they've had some downtime to
Sure.
get some breathing room and get everything back in order. Sitting
must
on
be
pins and
really
needles, I'm sure, but it was even to a layman,
Right.
even to a dumb layman, even to a libtard.
Oh.
This was a clear-cut case.
Ooh. Great for bringing out the big words, Kelly.
Well, I want to give a shout out to Onslow County Fire and Rescue. They've been deployed to Polk County, and 4, 5, they're taking the engine up there.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Snell, Cameron Moniak, Henry Wessel, and James Crouch will be
Yay.
going. And the Back Swamp Volunteer Fire Department's
Yeah.
headed to Polk County with the tanker. Kenneth Russell and Wade Bayer will be going to assist, and they're going to be
Yeah.
deployed to Polk
wonderful.
County.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yeah, we put that on our page
We got a lot
couple
of folks,
days ago.
Yeah, we got a lot of folks who were left from here. The
so you can read the
Jacksonville.
story, right?
the
Yeah.
Jacksonville public safety folks have gone.
Well, that's like we were talking yesterday. Didn't the sheriff's office, I believe, they took their shower unit down there.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one. Somebody did. Yes.
Yeah, I think it was Onslow. It was Onslow County Emergency Operations Center.
Mhm.
They took the shower unit down there.
So, we do a lot of good stuff around here because
I should say
we've been
best.
through it. We've had
Right,
it, and
right.
we know what's needed.
Yes.
And the National Guard troops are there
me see,
from
put that-
this state, all across North Carolina,
Right.
and other states have sent National Guard units in. The Army has got a bunch of guys there from Fort Liberty,
yes.
including a couple of dozen helicopters.
Right.
The president, when he was in the area, first of the week, Tuesday
Yes.
was it?
Yes.
He said he was authorizing the federal troops from Camp Lejeune and Fort Liberty to go there. I'm trying to find anything. I looked again last night, Kelly. I've been everywhere looking for any troops that have actually left Lejeune going
I
there.
haven't found anything. I looked also.
It's hopefully that's the case, or maybe they're getting ready to go. I know that the Marine Corps, those Marines, they do humanitarian response to, in a lot of
Yes, they
cases.
do.
A couple of years ago, 60,000 pounds of aid to the southern Philippines after the country was hit by torrential rains and deadly mudslides a few years ago. That's just,
Right.
I think, 2021, something like that. Marine units were deployed to aid those in need of humanitarian aid. But they do this all the time, all over the world.
Right. I did find a thing that we had posted. It was 2 days ago. The Onslow County Emergency Service deployed a shower trailer to support
I didn't
every
even,
county in their
didn't even know we
response.
had one.
I didn't know either.
That's good.
I'm sure that this is mainly probably for first responders. So this is great. Thank you, Onslow County.
Yep.
With what Kelly said too. I mean,
Utility
we've got-
crews
great
from
place.
all over the country, not only North Carolina. We know Jones Onslow, we know Duke Power. They all have sent people there, but crews are coming from all over, everywhere,
Right.
to assist in getting power restored. When you got power line, you're working on flatlands is one thing. When they come here, it's kind of not that difficult. It's
Right.
always tough work, of course, but when you go up to the mountains, have you looked at those poles that are up there sticking up 60 feet in the air, 50 to 60 feet in the air, going up those mountains? They look like at about a 45-degree angle.
Yeah.
How would you like to be up there working to put those things in?
I want to
How do
know
you do
how
it?
they're going to get those trucks up that little mountain road
Uh-huh.
because
How'd
there
you
was
get 'em
just
up there the
enough room
first
for
time?
us. It's amazing. I don't know. I don't know how they do it.
I don't know
But
whether they
we
use
had
helicopters to do that or
lines.
what they do, but
You could look right out the front window of our cabin, and there's a pole that's kind of like.
and somebody's
and
going to have to
lines.
climb every one of those those
I'm
poles.
telling you what,
to
I
get
doubt they'll
lines
see.
restrung.
I doubt they'll see electricity up there in the mountains for a while.
Well, the stories, the tragedies,
Horrible. I had to walk
continuing to
away
come.
from it. I had to walk away from it and decompress for like
it-
24
it-
hours.
It's very stressful.
Yes.
Very, very stressful. Okay, today's marine forecast brought to you by Community Prevention Services of Jacksonville. What stresses you out?
The weather.
Let me count the ways. If you're a
Yes.
small businessman trying to make ends meet, you'll always have some kind of issues to deal with. But when roadblocks by your local city council, your county commission, or strange or state regulations somewhere that no one has ever enforced until you came along, it seems, it can seem like everyone is against you and no one wants to help. The mechanics of handling the never-ending obstacles is tough, probably not any tougher than you thought it would be, or maybe it is. But when it seems like there are personalities at play, your stress levels can go through the roof. People need to understand that when you're dealing with folks like that who are about to lose everything they've got. I've known any number of businessmen, businesswomen who were forced to rebuild or repair after major events, from fires to hurricanes, when it knocked them to the ground. The extra regulations they were forced to comply with perhaps were not covered by insurance, fighting to get back on their feet, getting back to where they were before, continuing to pour money into their operation. How does a businessman deal with those stresses? For personal assistance with stress or anything else, stress or anxiety, depression, businessmen also need help. They might want to reach out for assistance. Community Prevention Services is here for them too. They may not be able to resolve the problems with your city or county governments, but they can help you work around the problems you're having, hopefully giving you the strength to deal with those standing in your way. Community Prevention Services, located at 918 Henderson Drive, with counselors on staff who actually care about you. They really do. Give them a call to set up a time to meet and get the ball rolling. 910-353-0972. That's 910-353-0972. The offshore forecast for the weekend is pretty much identical today, Saturday. Northeasterly winds 10 to 15 knots, seas 3 to 5 feet, 2 to 3 near shore. Sounds and rivers, moderate chop. That said, Be sure to check every day, preferably the day before you plan on venturing offshore. Weather conditions can change, as experienced boaters will tell you. The National Weather Service at Newport office provides the latest marine forecast along with updates as needed.
Okay.
And on land,
Aren't you going to give the weather?
that's what I just did.
All of it?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Mostly sunny, high of 81. Mostly cloudy, low of 63. Partly sunny, high of 82 on tomorrow. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy, low of 61. And on Sunday, sunny, high of 81. I was listening for your
2 feet
2
close to
feet
shore.
close to
choppy
shore.
I
ball.
did that. You want me to read it again for you? Northeasterly winds 10 to 15 knots, seas 3 to 5, 2 to 3 near shore. This is for today, Saturday, and Sunday.
All the
It's
same all the
identical.
time?
All
Okay.
identical. Sounds and rivers a moderate job.
Mm-hmm.
This is what happens when you change the seating a little bit,
Yeah.
and it throws everybody off for the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, things are
We
getting
just-
kind of on the wacky side a little bit here.
Yeah.
So we're
It's been a long
we're
week.
just dealing with things. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
happens.
It does.
It makes it interesting.
Well, it keeps us on our toes.
Well, I got
Sure
a
does.
headache too, so that doesn't help.
So do I.
So
A detention officer in Craven County has been fired.
Oh, do tell.
Uh-huh.
What happened?
what did they do?
Let me
After he got
guess.
arrested for smuggling drugs into the jail.
There
Okay.
you go. We knew that was coming.
County deputies and the SBI started an investigation last Saturday into smuggling and distributing contraband at the county hotel. Kristen Kuntz has been charged with possession with intent to manufacture, sell, and deliver Schedule II controlled substances, possession with intent to manufacture and deliver Schedule II controlled substance, possession with intent to manufacture, sell, and deliver Schedule 6 controlled substance, conspiracy to sell and deliver. He's got a lot of drug charges on him.
These people really think a detention officer they're going to get away with
You
stuff
gotta
like
be
that.
just some kind of just
First of
dumb.
all,
You're
there's
right.
somebody in that jailhouse over there
Mhm.
that would like to have some kudos coming from the jailers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they will do a good thing. They will help the man. You won't know about it until they come to get you. And they're not going to make it known who told them, but somebody has ratted this dude out. Somebody didn't like him, and somebody just did not want that. And somebody saw, I guarantee you, somebody saw an opportunity to get ahead,
When we
get
did,
some good words said for him when they get to the courthouse.
a couple of weeks ago when we visited the detention center, of course, we were listening to stories, and the captain was telling stories about one detention officer, and this was a while back, that was bringing in cigarettes and stuff to one of the prisoners, which was
Oh.
forbidden. And it went on and on and on. And people were saying, well, how come nobody said anything? And they were talking about how the prisoner and the detention officer have a tight bond, because they're helping each other. And it went on to when the prisoner got transferred to another prison, and he was saying his goodbyes, and he said, oh, by the way, he's been supplying me with cigarettes for months.
Uh-oh.
Those prisoners, you think you want to trust them? Go ahead.
No, I don't. No. Yeah, they're in there for a reason.
Yes.
Washington State. I know Kelly loves that area.
I do.
Elementary school principal is on administrative leave after parents complained about comments she made about a swastika that was found on a school wall. Now the Bellevue School District is investigating.
Well, what comments did she make?
This creates a trust issue, and I believe the principal should resign. That's what one woman said who has a student at the school. Parents of students in the Bellevue district are outraged over an email from the principal at Phantom Lake Elementary School.
Mhm.
In it, the principal said she wanted to acknowledge that a swastika can be a symbol of peace.
Who said that?
The principal,
That's what I
not
thought.
just hate. This is highly
Oh, my.
upsetting, the
Mm-mm.
mom said.
Mm-mm.
I hope Bellevue School District takes actions. The email came from the swastika after the swastika was discovered by a fifth grader on a school wall.
Wow.
Really? And so she sends out an email, says it can be a good thing. It can be a symbol of
It's-
peace. What? Where?
Need to slap
When?
her upside the head.
With an iron cross.
Jesus. The level of stupidity.
Parents
Unreal.
got a text alert about the swastika. I mean, it was so important that they sent out a text alert to all the parents. The principal called it a symbol of hate and said it had been removed immediately. It is very evident the intention in this case, painted on the wall, with a specific Nazi appearance, was intended to be a Nazi swastika.
Does a fifth
That's what she
grader
said.
even understand what all that is?
I don't know. They don't not talk anymore. Hours later, same day, parents received a follow-up email from the principal, same principal, calling for inclusivity, telling them the swastika have deep historical and cultural significance in other parts of the world.
What part of the world?
She's trying to now say that, oh, we got to include those Nazi slum buckets.
No, we do not.
We've got to acknowledge their existence. Yeah, when we hang them.
Hmm. That's just, what is wrong with, who is this? I got to look this up.
It's a female, too.
Of course it is. You
Oh,
said,
and how
well,
she-
Washington State?
Yeah.
How she even become a teacher is beyond me.
They're so loony up there, the way they think and do
Mhm.
things. Unreal.
Extremely
I think
liberal.
her name was Gott or something. But
Well, look it up.
you know, come on, people.
Yep. I wanna see what she looks
That's
like.
never going to be a sign of peace.
No,
No.
not
No.
no.
It was who was it developed by?
Correct.
Yeah,
Level of stupidity.
Yep.
Third Reich
Elementary school. Yep.
elementary school. They had that.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll start them young.
She also
Oh,
said
Lord,
it
we got
had a
Jacob.
positive and spiritual meaning.
Yeah, he's been in and out this morning. He's looking for
A
food.
spiritual meaning.
A spiritual meaning, yeah. Spirit this. Okay. Wow.
Spirit, this is right.
That is crazy.
7-year-old boy and his grandparents.
I don't
In-
want to talk
in
about that
Nashville.
story. I hate it.
3 family members in Nashville
Oh,
drowned in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene, despite another family member's social media plea to rescue them.
Yeah, they were
Right.
on the roof.
Posting from Texas last Friday,
Mhm.
Jessica Dry Turner begged for someone to rescue her family members stranded on their rooftop in Asheville, surrounded by rising floodwaters.
Yep.
horrible.
They're watching 18-wheelers and cars floating by, she
Mhm.
said. Her parents, both in their 70s, along with her 7-year-old nephew, Micah, and his mother, Megan Dry, were trapped on the roof of their house. In a follow-up message, which became widely circulated on social media Saturday, she said help had not arrived in time to save her parents and her 7-year-old nephew. The roof had collapsed and the 3 of them drowned.
It was horrible, horrible. Like I said, I had to walk away from all the stories and decompress the last 24 hours.
Her
It's
sister,
just
the
been
other
horrible.
person up there, was swept away,
Mm.
but survived. Got caught up in some debris. They're finding folks who they have rescued people over the past week earlier on
Right,
that were trapped by trees. They were
right.
caught in the trees as the water was rushing by. They
Yes.
grabbed hold and held on. They've rescued a number of people. Unfortunately, they're finding some bodies as well.
Right.
Yeah.
It is
As
just
time goes by.
horrific. Horrific. And that brings to mind there is a picture going all over social media of a little girl
With a
puppy.
Yeah.
in a boat
Yeah.
and it's supposedly rescued. She's all wet, the puppy's all dry, but that is a fake
Yeah.
picture, people.
Oh, really?
Fake AI
Right.
generate. And that's what makes me sick. We've got all this turmoil and despair, and people want to put fake pictures on social media. Stop it. Stop it. And I mean, and you don't know. You see it and you think it just
Yeah.
it tears at your heart.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know.
So the family was inside a house as Helene roared outside. The wind was howling. Branches are snapping off trees.
Mm.
And a guy named John Savage, he went to his grandparents' bedroom to make sure they were okay. He said, we heard one snap, and I remember going back there and checking on them. He was 22. His grandparents, Marcia, 74, and Jerry, 78, who were lying in bed. They were both fine. The dog was fine, but not long after that, Savage and his father heard a boom, the sound of one of the biggest trees on the property
Oh, no.
in Beach Island, South Carolina, crashing on top of his grandparents' bedroom and killing them. All you could see was ceiling and tree, he said. I was just going through sheer panic at that point.
God bless him.
He said his grandparents were found hugging one another,
Yep.
their bodies.
Yeah. I've read that story about them being found hugging each
Mhm.
other. It's just, you know, and I won't sleep in the back bedroom during a hurricane because I do have one. Well, most of my trees are gone now, but I stay in the front room. There's no trees.
I don't have trees in my yard, so I don't worry about that.
Yeah. I'm just afraid of a tree falling.
I'm
That-
afraid of a snake falling on me in the
That
yard.
happened to my mother during birth. A
Mm-mm.
tree fell right
Yep.
over top and right through her kitchen.
Nope.
Thank goodness she was with me.
Don't have a tree.
Yeah, they're great.
Oh, they're awesome.
They
I love
can-
trees.
They can be deadly.
Yes. Well, I
yeah.
still have one that's on the property line of my neighbor and myself, and it's at the front. But if that was to fall, it's not going to do any damage to my house, nor his. But it'd probably fall in the street. But I tell you, that's something that people need to think about. Like during the winter months, is a good time to get some of those trees trimmed back or even cut
Those
down.
limbs and big limbs sticking in the ground out there a couple of weeks ago. I haven't gone out to pull it out
Oh,
yet.
yeah.
The one that came tumbling down, it's about 6 feet or so sticking out of the ground, about,
Right.
maybe 2 inches in diameter. It came down with such a force that it impaled itself in the ground.
Nice.
Wow.
Do not go out into your backyard around trees.
No.
Tree limbs, they tend to die out from
Mm-hmm.
time to time. They break off in wind.
Mhm.
And when they come tumbling down, they can come tumbling down with enough force to kill you.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
During 1954, Hurricane Hazel, one of the fatalities in the area was I do not know why. Paper boys used to be out there going
Right.
door to door on their bicycles and throwing paper.
Yes.
This boy was going door to door. I think he was walking, but I can't remember. Carrying the paper bag, the sack that they
Mhm.
carry, and he was handing out the newspapers at some point during the storm, and a tree fell on him and killed him
I know.
around
on-
Elizabeth Lake.
I think it was Friday afternoon when I had gone out the back door at the cabin there, and my sister and I, we were outside. About the time we heard a huge tree fall, we went right back in. We're
When
like,
it hits the
nope.
ground, there's a kind of a rumble.
Oh, yeah,
a
it
little bit
felt like an
a
earthquake.
Small earthquake
Ooh.
going off.
It's like not a good time to be outside. Let's
Nope,
go back
not
in.
at all.
Oh.
So, what else you guys could?
I'm reading something's mad, but I know how I would have handled this. It's this guy in Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky. He invited his friend and her boyfriend over to have a few beers to his house. And so when it went time to leave, or at some point, their car wouldn't start. So he said, "You can spend the night in my garage while they work to fix the car." And they worked on the car for a driveway. Then they bought a mattress and stuff and put them in the garage. Well, you already know where this is going. Then installed cable and started to get mail. There was no real. Then they he and his roommates, and he owned the house, said, "You got to go." And they said, "Nope, we have squatters' rights." So he put up a 30-day eviction notice. And then the guy that was in the garage and one of the roommates got in a fight, and the guy in the garage filed a restraining order
really?
against the guy that owns the house, the one that was friends with his girlfriend. The judge granted it and said, "You can't go to your house." Now, the judge, so then they were saying the guy that filed the order did not indicate to the court that the guy that he was the homeowner. He claimed he was a roommate, but he lied. It's not true. He claimed they had that they had an agreement, which what is wrong with these court systems? Because he says, well, we had agreement that I will maintain the house in charge in exchange for living in the garage, but he did not produce anything to the court. I mean, are judges really this gullible? There's no way they can be. So And after that, so this poor guy couldn't even go to his own house. Let's see, I would have burned that house to the ground. Bottom line.
Now, rental tool company, would you send me a backhoe over to this location? I'm going to
Yeah.
need it.
I would have charged right through that whole thing. And I don't, you know, this whole squatters' rights things, I think all states need to absolutely
That needs
change
to be re-examined.
in every state.
Yeah. And
Even
that-
in North Carolina, it
this
used
is
to
this
be
is one that needs to probably end up in front of the Supreme Court so that it applies nationwide.
everywhere. Yes.
The
Get some-
federal law.
I can't
Common sense
imagine
going on here, folks.
owning your own home and you get kicked out of it over a flat lie. And I cannot fathom that a judge would not have asked his man, produce the document that says you have this agreement because it didn't exist.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I
No,
know
this
that
just makes
slum
me-
lords exist, and
Yeah.
that's a shame that they still exist in this country.
I know. Oh, yeah, I know one right
they-
here in Onslow
They
County.
don't do, they take, and they don't maintain,
True.
They were in Wilmington.
Right.
I hired a reporter. She came
Mm-hmm.
all the way up, nice young lady right out of college, came all the way from Savannah, got her a job as a reporter. And she was in fifth floor, whatever it was, a downtown apartment. And the guy, she couldn't get her stove. He wouldn't fix her stove. Wouldn't fix her
Sad.
stove. She was eating out every night. She had to eat out. She was,
Wow.
so I went over there, and of course I was the heavy-handed individual, and everybody knew who I was. So it helped a little bit like that. And I said, well, I had a one-on-one meeting. I said, here's what I've come up with. Since she moved in here, she's had to eat out. Lunch she has to eat out anyway, but she's had to eat out at dinner time where she would normally go out and cook her own stuff.
Right.
So let's just figure, and I figured out what the cost of a meal would be at that time. I guess it was probably in the 80s, what the cost of fixing a meal at home for one person would be. I figured that.
Right.
And then what it cost her to go out to eat.
Travel.
So, and then I subtracted the differences and I said,
Yes.
this is what you're going to take off of her rent every month until you get her house fixed and get
there you
everything
go.
operational. And he said, well, okay, I guess that sounds kind of fair. And I said, well, yeah, but it's going to have to do it that way, one way or the other. So he did.
Exactly.
Mm-mm.
But people have got to have folks to stand up for them too.
Right.
I agree. There's a slumlord right here. Don't fix air, floors, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Here, that's here, not in Jacksonville. It's a crying shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a few, believe
No,
me.
they reduce the rent.
Rayford, you better stop right there.
I was just thinking maybe they should be reducing the rent. So somebody needs to step up to the plate.
I wouldn't pay it. And then when they took me to court, I would explain to the judge why I wasn't paying it.
Well,
Complete with photos, text showing I asked for these repairs,
Mhm.
all of it. Or personally, I would take the landlord to court.
That's do it in advance. Don't
Yeah.
wait for not paying. Just
No,
take
I
them
would
to
just
court.
take them to court for refusing to repair.
Mhm.
Because you can do all this other stuff. You can pay to fix the properties that you're renting to people. Bottom line,
Right.
it's just dirtbaggy and low life.
Y'all need to be very careful when you go to rent a place. They always want to get references from you, which is okay. I mean,
Correct.
if I had a place I was going to rent it, I would want references too. Where did you live before? I need to check you out.
But this is why I wouldn't rent from an individual. I would go through a rental company.
There's always a good possibility. But
Yeah.
Yes.
But then the other thing is, when you go to do that rent, why don't we have the same as a renter? Why don't we? Why can't we check your background and find out what's going on with you? You should be able to. You should do it.
Right.
Hmm.
You can do it. People just don't know how to do it,
True.
and they're generally so desperate to get a place around here that they'll take pretty much anything that comes along.
I know. And that's where
That's where we have
the,
a problem.
the getting gets got.
Mhm.
Yeah. Something else we hadn't really discussed. Mark Robinson. And I am going to talk about him.
I just want
And
to
I'm
say
about to
one
make some
thing I'm
people
very
mad.
disappointed in, and then I'll let you get to your story.
That's probably
the
we're about-
state
hold on. Jake,
legislature voted
Yeah.
on to Western North Carolina,
Uh-huh.
and he was not even there for the
That's
vote.
what
Oh, okay, you go ahead with the story.
I mean, I can't fathom.
Just
You're running for election, okay? And he was the only member of the Council of State to not vote to declare the state of emergency.
right.
What possible excuse could this man have?
Well, first of all, I don't care whether he's running for office or not. You're
Correct.
a candidate. You're a nothing. when
He's
you're
the
running.
lieutenant
He's a
governor.
lieutenant
But as
governor.
lieutenant governor,
Yeah.
And
you need to have your butt there.
and the president of the Senate.
Yep.
You already look a fool with your stuff that's come out. This just adds to it.
Okay.
And I can't fathom that he thinks anybody in North Carolina would think this was okay. And his excuse he gave is, well, I knew it was going to pass, is weak.
What did he say? What was
He
his
said,
excuse?
well, I knew it was going to pass.
I knew it was.
I
gonna
would have
pass,
been
and
there
that's all.
anyway.
I knew it was going to pass.
Uh-huh.
I would have been there anyway.
Yes. Who cares if you thought it was going to pass or not? That is your job. What was he elected to do as lieutenant governor?
He's not doing his job.
I don't think he's done his job at all.
Here's what I'm surprised at.
Hmm.
I'm absolutely surprised. And I don't like that word, the I word, but I'm so surprised that when all of this other stuff started coming out about him, God, I don't care
Right.
about the other stuff. That's things they're going to prove. But he
Right.
hasn't been doing the job that he's
Correct.
hired and paid
Right.
to do.
Correct.
Why not get rid of him?
I don't.
Why
is it-
didn't our legislature come up with something to get rid of it?
Okay,
I
it
think
was
it-
voted in by
It
the
was voted
people.
in, and it's a process.
So was the president.
Yeah. Well, you mean by impeach him?
Yeah.
Well, impeachment is nothing. It's just paper.
And
Uh-huh.
there was,
Words
but
on a
there would have
paper.
been enough House and Senate votes. They wouldn't have impeached him, regardless.
I'm not sure right now.
Well, now, but I mean, I think that's a process anyway.
Mhm.
I don't know, but I mean, this right here is just unfathomable. There's no excuse he could possibly give.
Well,
I
what
saw
at all?
that.
Why
I
are
was-
we still paying him to be there in that position?
I was.
What is he
disappointed.
doing for us? He's getting money, but he's not serving. He's not earning his money.
I don't think he served us at all.
You got to go, dude.
Mhm.
Well, I know the
Just
last
resign.
time-
We don't need you. You haven't been there, so we haven't used you, so we don't need you.
Yeah, hadn't attended any Senate meetings. or
10,
just-
I think.
less than. I was told, and this was back around primary time, that in the last 3 years he's been there less than 10 times. To
That
a
is
Senate
a-
meeting.
doggone
Just Senate.
disgrace right there.
So, sorry, bub. You need to go.
And I would, if anybody's going to defend him, I would love to
Yeah,
hear
please.
their argument on why you would defend him. And don't say because he's a Republican, because that is going to be the weakest argument you could possibly make.
Yep.
So, what other
And the-
defense would you have for this and for the less than 10 times?
In this room, the R or D does not mean anything.
No, don't mean
Right.
it to me.
Exactly. Exactly.
No.
So I will tell you during the primary, when I went in to vote, I did not necessarily because you were a Republican. And I'm not going to tell what I did, but
Well, you
'cause I
had to vote
find
on
it's
the
very
Republican ticket. What else did you have to choose from?
can-
That's true, but it's
skip
you
can
could skip a
section.
block or
I
two.
remember you didn't have anything to. So, did you have all of this information at that time back in March?
She had some of it.
Some of it I already knew.
Mm-hmm.
Did you?
Yeah,
Mhm, I
she,
already
I
knew.
talked about it. Yeah.
Yeah, because
You didn't share it with me.
Yes, she did. We said on the air one time. You weren't listening, right? For a bit. So
Yeah.
I did.
it was
just
before
forgot
that that's why some of the leaders in the North Carolina legislature were trying to push Dale Falwell,
Yeah.
and because they knew
Is it too
exactly.
late?
Yes.
It's too late unless you
Mhm.
want to write him in. Do they have
Yeah.
write in for governor?
Yeah, because people are trying to write in Pat McCrory.
That's right.
Yeah.
There you go.
910-333-0139. Want to
Yeah.
chat about it? Today's Friday. Bring it on. Let's
Mhm.
talk. 910. Probably taking the wind out of a lot of sails, aren't we?
Isn't it?
910-333-0139. Give us a call. Tell us what you think.
Isn't it funny though how you can take somebody, and I'm not talking about Robinson, I'm talking about anybody that you think, oh gosh, they would make a good elected official, and then before it's all done and said, oh my gosh, the stuff you find
That
out.
happens a lot too.
I know it doesn't
Yeah.
it? Even locally.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
we,
yeah.
we saw
True.
what happened locally a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Quite a few times, not
Yeah.
even just a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yes, you're right. You're right. With the more recent one.
Mm-hmm.
And why is it always the Board of Education though?
Well, it started up there in Virginia.
I'm telling you, Loudoun County, they've been real silent, but I'm telling you,
Well,
they're going to come out with something.
they spread the
I
wealth.
feel
Right.
it coming. Yeah.
Right.
It's been a little silent lately, but it's going to come out with something.
Oh yeah, they've been election time. They'll have some kind of news where somebody
Okay,
beat
the
somebody up.
average dock worker, the average pay
Oh,
for a dock
yeah.
worker is $81,000 a year. The average pay for a dock worker is $81,000
Yes,
a year. Some
I
get
saw
more,
that.
some get less.
That sounds like it would need
Let
a
me
job
see.
need to be paid more. I would think that'd be a hard
Except
job.
for the president of the union.
$81,000 needs to be paid more.
I think if a dock worker unloading all that and you're in the heat, you're in the whatever.
They stand out there and point at this and have the crane to pull this, and they tie it down or do whatever. They don't
have
do
to
any
unload the
labor.
They have to
Containers.
unload the stuff
For what?
from the cargo containers. What are you talking
No,
about?
they don't. Those containers go to wherever they're destined. Those containers come off the ship on a crane, drop down to a truck, and they're hauled away. All they do is tighten down the.
In case nobody knows,
Mhm.
they went back to work. So quit buying all the.
Yeah, that's not why
My
they bought it.
gosh, that
And the
was
dog
crazy.
food, but I'm still hoping that the dog food situation is simply
They got a
because
conditional
trying to
increase
go
of
out west.
62%.
Yes,
From the-
61,000. Yes.
I got to
Uh-huh.
figure out how much that is.
Okay,
Well, it's going to be what,
that would be a-
60,000?
that
No,
would be
You better
another
be
50
telling a
another
lie.
$50,000
Yeah, another 50.
or
Yeah.
for the average.
Uh,
Some gonna
those
get less, some gonna get a lot more.
big fat
The,
union leaders
The
get
big
richer.
union leader got gets $750,000 $1 million.
He was already making
They're going to be making
780,000,
almost 130,000 a year.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
which means prices are going up, folks.
Why did you waste all your time in school?
I could have been a dock worker making $130,000 a year,
Yeah,
and you don't even know how to spell. You don't even have to know how to spell to be a dock worker
no, you don't.
or do math.
And you also, this it's so funny when these ships come into port here,
Right.
okay, and all ports, they come into port, and from the minute they dock, they touch the dock, the meter is running, the parking meter, basically. So they have to pay the port for every minute they're there. Those ships will stay offshore because they know the dock workers will not work from 12 until 1.
Right.
Period.
They're union.
They can't even get
And they
tied
have
up.
to have a 15-minute break every 3 hours, and overtime will cost you out your backside.
Oh, if they have to come in after overnight, oh my Lord, and work
Oh,
overnight, yeah, they do have to pay a
yes.
fortune. And of course, the ships coming in have to pay. And then when the ships have to pay, that increases the price of the goods,
Yep.
and then we have to pay.
Yeah.
And the gift that just keeps on giving.
Well, I just want to let you know there's plenty of bananas in the store. They have not depleted.
The
Still
monkeys
there.
will be happy.
So I got some the other day just because, not because I thought there was going to be a shortage, just
Mhm.
because we were talking about bananas and I wanted some.
I remember the last time I bought a banana. Okay.
Well,
My mom eats them in her cereal every day, so I buy them a
Well,
lot.
I don't eat cereal.
I don't either, but
So
I don't either.
bananas are good for you. But I
two
like
things
them
I
kinda
like
green.
bananas.
Mhm.
2 times. One is on banana sandwiches with,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
now this is going to be,
You better not say peanut butter.
oh no, Miracle
Oh,
Whip.
me. I
Rayford,
don't-
no,
No,
it's
on-
Duke's
on-
mayo.
No,
Stop.
not for bananas.
Yes,
not
sir.
for bananas on bread. No.
Duke's
no.
mayo for
Yep.
banana sandwich.
That's for other stuff.
You're inhuman.
No, I use
Right.
Miracle
No.
Whip
See?
with the banana
Well,
sandwich.
we're
I
both
can't. No,
well.
well, I do
that.
not. It's
And
Duke's or
on banana
nothing.
cakes. You ever had a banana cake?
Oh, you know
Oh,
what that
yes.
is?
Oh, they cut
Well-
up those little, dice them up and put them in a whipped cream mixture and cut.
Oh,
that-
like a strawberry shortcake kind of thing.
I guess.
Okay.
Well, Kelly, close your ears on this,
Oh,
but
Lord.
I like bananas with peanut butter and then drizzle honey over it. That's how I like my banana sandwich.
gross.
I don't do
God,
that.
so good.
That's just gross.
So good.
But
Yeah, it's
910-333-0139. Wide open today. Y'all want to chat? Go ahead. I dare you.
Oh,
I
wow.
double D dare you.
Story coming out of
Double
Lake
D
Lure.
dog dare you. Yeah.
I know Kelly knows this one too.
Let's hear it.
Jordan Seidholm woke up Saturday morning. He saw a Facebook post that tens of thousands of people were commenting on and sharing. It was about a family that was stranded on a mountain in Banner Elk, North
Mhm.
Carolina. They had run out of water a day earlier and just enough food to last to last less than 2 days. So Sidham, he's a former head of the Chesterfield County Sheriff's Office narcotics unit.
Mhm.
He knows a thing or two about finding people. So he researched the mountain chain where the family was located and found a place to land his helicopter using mapping software. He loaded water and food onto his helicopter and headed towards Banner Elk. And I think he was from South Carolina,
He's
right?
from
Kelly?
South Carolina.
Yes.
Yep.
He said, I thought I have a helicopter and maybe I can help, he told the Queen City News chief investigator Jody Barr. So he went there, and his son, a high school junior, also went along. Both men are volunteer members of the Sand Hills Volunteer Fire Department in Pageland, South Carolina. Sidholm is a Class 1 certified law enforcement officer and a pilot with nearly 1,400 hours of flying. He first contacted the Charlotte Douglas International Airport's air traffic control tower to get clearance to fly over the airport. He said he got clearance and was allowed to fly over the airport, which is a direct shot at the mountains where he needed to be. Once in the Lake Lure area on Saturday, he first landed at the nearest airport, met with multiple law enforcement officers and first responders to coordinate communication channels with them and to find out what was needed and where he should go for help. Go to help. Sidholm said he left the supplies he collected at a drop-off point for the family in the Facebook post, then lifted off towards Black Mountain to find where he could help. The first rescue was of 2 women who were stranded high up in the mountain. Sidholm took the pair to a community center with supplies and generator power. The women didn't have water or food at the time. Story goes on, and then there were 2 other ladies who were out of town. They were staying at an Airbnb. Gosh, this is familiar sounding. They only had 1 day of supplies, which was gone by Saturday. They didn't have food or water. So he ended up rescuing them and bringing them back in also. He talks about the raging waters, the bloated Broad River, all the things that he saw. But come along, this is what happened. After getting 4 victims to safety on Saturday, Sidholm said he and his son slept in recliners in a pilot lounge at a nearby airport and awoke Sunday morning with a decision to make. Jordan and Lyndon Sidholm were inundated with social media, phone calls, and text messages from people pleading for help. Most of the voicemails were from family members who got his telephone number from Facebook. He said, this one female voice, my parents are stuck. The woman hasn't heard from her parents in more than a day, and her voice nearly broke as she slowly read her parents' number into the phone. If you receive this, please give me a call back. So he called her. He said he could hear the desperation in her voice and had received multiple phone calls from her. So he contacted her, and he started coordinating with a person on the ground to try to find her parents. And he spoke with his son, which is his co-pilot, and said, hey, do you want to go back out and try to help today? There are so many messages, I don't think we cannot go. And his son said, of course. So they got back into his Black Robinson 44 helicopter and headed west once again through the mountains, through a mountain gap in Lake Lure. As we were flying by, my son actually spotted a lady waving for help. And I asked him, waving for help or just waving? He says, no, I think she's waving for help. So him and his son conducted a low and high recon for power lines and trees that might have been in the way, and gingerly lowered his chopper onto what was left of the couple's concrete driveway. The floodwaters had washed away most of it. So the video shows him leaving the helicopter to greet the couple, then returning with a game plan. And what they did was he left his son there with the husband, and he went ahead and took the wife to take her to safety because he could only do one at a time. Because he didn't want
The
to.
Robbie 44 is a 4-place plane.
Yeah, well, he said he didn't want to put too much weight on the concrete, et cetera, et cetera. So they loaded her into the chopper, and then he flew back. He landed in the parking lot at a boys' camp road and Memorial Highway near Lake Lure Flowering Bridge, where he spotted a group of first responders. This is where it got crazy. Once he landed where the emergency personnel was, he was met by a fire chief or maybe a captain who asked him who I was. I told him who I was with, and I was just a local volunteer. The man was from an out-of-state fire department who traveled to North Carolina to help in rescue efforts. He believed the chief was from somewhere out of Michigan. He said, I told my background experience, law enforcement, firefighting, and piloting. He
He'd
immediately
been
started.
a deputy at one time, I think.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
He said he gave me radio frequencies to coordinate with them and set up a landing area for me to come back with the other victim. So this fire chief from Michigan was doing all this. But he said, and in the middle of the whole conversation and them blocking off the road, I was greeted by, at that time, I didn't know, but the Lake Lure fire chief or assistant chief, maybe. He said he was in charge of the local operation right there in that area. So he was able to later positively identify the Lake Lure fire official via the town's website, but he didn't want to give out the man's name right now. But this town fire department, fire chief or whatever, told him at the time, no, you're not going to go back and rescue that man. We want you out of here. And if you get back in that chopper and head back that way, we're going to arrest you.
He can't arrest
I'd have been
anybody.
arrested.
Yeah. Well, he said, well, I've got to go back and get my son. And he says, nope. He said, if you go back over there, we're going to arrest you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Catch me.
He said,
Catch me,
he told me I
exactly.
wasn't going to go back up the mountain to get them. I was going to leave them there. Well, guess what he did?
Hmm.
He went back and got his son.
Hmm. But he left. Oh, he left the husband.
Yeah, he told the husband, he said, I'm sorry. I can't take you back over there.
I would have taken him
They
back.
know you're here.
Taken to some other location.
Yeah.
Right. But the fire official said that he was interfering with his operation.
What operation would that be?
Obviously, not,
Being a
not
being a
rescuing
dirt
people.
bag?
He told me, he said, I'm going to go back and get my co-pilot. And the fire official said, if you turn around and go back up the mountain, you're going to be arrested. He said, well, sir, I'm going back to get my co-pilot. I don't know what to tell you. So he said the official called 2 law enforcement officers over and again threatened him with arrest if he flew back up the mountain. He said, at this point, I had to make a decision. I have a victim. I have my son. And I politely asked the officers, told them the situation again, explained everything, and told them who I'd been coordinating with. Remember, he had coordinated with all these other emergency personnel. And I said, hey, if I go back up there and get this victim and bring him down to the landing spot that the other emergency personnel have designated, am I going to be arrested? And the officer's response was, man, I really don't know what to do in this situation. And I said, so if you can't tell me I'm going to get arrested or not? And the man said, I'm not sure what to do.
He would have, I said, not by me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the Michigan, the
Not by me.
out-of-state fire
What
chief.
what can I do? What's the charge?
I mean, the
Lying when I
out-of-state.
told you not to? I mean, go find you a witch. and
Exactly. The
arrest her.
out-of-state fire chief said,
No.
hey, man, we can't tell you to go back and get the victim. We can't even ask you to go get the victim, but,
But
we
we
can
can't
tell
stop
you
you either.
if you come back with that victim, we'll have a designated landing spot and we'll make sure they don't come over here. So, I mean, the Michigan fire
He
chief,
seemed to get it together. It
Yes.
was a North Carolina guy.
and it's a North Carolina guy, which probably won't be a fire chief for long.
Yeah, I'm
Ego.
sure.
And once
Yes.
again, example of somebody too big for their britches.
Can you
Or
imagine
thinks he
though,
is.
Yeah.
having to go back, pick up your son, and
leave
tell
you
the
alone.
other victim,
No, I would
sorry?
have taken the
I
other
would've
guy
taken the
somewhere
other
else.
victim.
Oh, I would have taken him too and flown him like
I would have
Charlie
brought him
Brown.
right back to where I was and said, what are you going to do?
Yeah, really.
Y'all need to get out of the way now because I'm landing.
But you know, why do we have to have this during a moment of crisis?
Attitude.
Somebody too big for their britches.
And I'm telling you, it's too big for your britches. What it is.
This was all over the
Yep.
news.
Oh,
yesterday.
yeah.
National news,
And they
Fox
keep
News,
calling
Spectrum News.
The fire department
not
that
gonna
he's
talk.
from. They're not answering their phone.
Mhm.
Well, you know, the day before they had temporary flight restrictions issued that day, and guess why?
But they lifted it because of that.
Right.
They
no,
lifted
it was because Biden.
Mhm.
Biden was coming into the area, so they put flight restrictions out, which
is
has been
normal.
lifted.
No, this happened on Saturday.
Yeah.
They put right after that helicopter guy. They all of a sudden
You're right. You're
yeah.
right. You're right. I was reading ahead.
And then somebody had a ounce of sanity and said, "Hold on," and they unlifted it or lifted the restriction. Yeah,
I mean, they were calling for people with helicopters.
idiots.
There
So
were a
they're
bunch of people
basically
with
begging for
Private
helicopters.
helicopters coming in and rescuing folks.
Because some of those
Right.
helicopters can get into place, the big ones can't.
Yep. The Robies, well, I've flown in the 44. A friend of mine had one over in Burgaw, and he also had a 22, the 2-seater. He landed in the parking lot.
Right.
Yeah,
He said, could you, he called And he said, you got a couple of cars down there. Can you move one of those cars? I need to land between those other two cars. And he
Yeah.
did. He put it down right between
This
two
is what's
cars.
sad. He
Yeah.
said as we were leaving the area, there were other victims. As we were flying out of the area, we spotted within 300, 400 yards within their locations, and we couldn't go help them.
No.
We just had to
Yep. I'll
leave.
pick you up. I'll drop you somewhere where you can
One
get easy access back to
dumb
your
butt
place.
fire chief.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that my pilot. Yeah, I'd hired him to fly me to the state ports in Moorhead to shoot some pictures, right? When I was
Right.
doing contractor for the state ports. So we took off. I took off from Wilmington. He picked me up in Wilmington, and I flew to Moorhead to shoot it. Shot it there, and I said, "Listen, my dad's got an old pickup truck he wants to give me, and I haven't had a chance to get a ride up here to pick it up.
Mm.
Can you drop me over there? I'll tell you where to drop down at the food line. I'll call him right here on Piney Green Road.
Right.
There's a big field there and a concrete pad."
Wow.
He said, "Well, show me where the house is." I did. We landed in the front yard right out here. And I got off.
Did you really?
We did. The neighbors came.
Oh, I'm sure they did. They were like thinking
My
you were
cousin
getting
came.
air vac or something.
Yeah, there's a bunch of folks showed up. But we landed right there. I got out and he took off. Right, but that's the way it was. we were doing one down in Curie Beach. No longer a police officer there, but I was doing photos down in the area. And I said, there's the police chief. There's the police department down there. He said, "Can I meet the chief?" I said, "Yeah, I'll show you. I'll introduce you." He said, "Well, let's go on in." So we landed there in the parking lot at the police department.
There you go.
And the chief got out and came out. He said, "Boy, I'd like to take a ride in that thing." I said, "Andy, can you do it?" And he did it. Flew him all over the area.
I'm not a fan of helicopters.
I'm not either anymore.
I'm
I just
not a
don't do them
fan.
anymore.
It took me most of my adult life to get the courage to go on a plane, which I had. Once I got through the first flight, I was seasoned after that.
Mhm.
But helicopters, no.
I don't like helicopter. My uncle had one. And
Not anymore.
It
I'm
was-
not going to do it anymore. If I can help
no,
it.
they're creepy.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Well, they're not creepy. The military ones and
They seem
and
to
those-
fall apart,
and
Rayford.
those big ones, those
Yeah.
military ones, they've
Oh,
got
I'm not
more than
talking
one
about that.
motors.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Right.
those single engine ones, they got when they go down, they go. When they quit working, and they're one and done.
Yeah.
So we got.
Not sure. Couldn't see. Oh, it's Jennifer.
I hit my hand.
I think it's Jennifer.
Do
It
we?
is.
Do we
It
have?
is
We got.
Hillbilly.
We got Tennessee J on the line.
We do. You do. You
How-
got this dumb old hillbilly up here
No,
that
don't
just
say that.
gets off more and more and more
Uh-oh.
every time I turn
Do
on the news.
tell. Let her.
First of all, little Miss raised in her middle class neighborhood, if she thinks that $750 is something to really get on TV and brag about, that they're going to give the victims of Hurricane Helene,
I agree.
I'd like to tell her what she
Yeah.
do with that $750.
$750.
And all these hillbillies would like to tell her what she can do. Now, we are blessed. Kingsport, there was some widespread power outages. We only lost power for about an hour.
Wow.
But no bad damage right here in Kingsport.
Good.
Kingsport is about 25 minutes. Terry and I did ride to Elizabethton. We rode as far as, it took us about 25 minutes, just straight up the interstate. We rode to the caution tape, and I told him, I said, "That's it. Going on back." And so we turned around and we came on back. What? Did you see Mayor Pete? Did you see Mayor Pete telling everybody that they needed to not fly the drones, the private helicopters, and this and that and the other?
I did not.
Well,
I saw
oh
it.
yeah,
I keep
yeah.
flying.
It may hinder. It may hinder the rescue efforts. Well, who's doing the rescuing?
Exactly.
How is it hindered when you're determining where people are?
The mountain folk with the drones and the private helicopters. Did you see where the retired NASCAR?
Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
info,
Very
yeah.
And-
careful.
Yeah, saw the mirror and was able to help somebody. we're not you turn on any news, any national news, and all you see are the well-known mountain cities. Now, don't get me wrong. They had horrible devastation. Horrible. Asheville, Boone, Blowing Rock, Chimney Rock, all those places. Horrible. So don't get me wrong. But there is nothing mentioned about these small towns that are gone. That we see locally. You're not hearing anything on the grand scheme of things about Southwest Virginia. You're not hearing Damascus. You're not hearing Irwin. You're not hearing Carter County, Unicoi County, Newport, Greenville. You're not hearing Elizabethton, Hampton. You're not hearing these places. Irwin, Tennessee is gone. The Nolechucky River, Tucket, it's gone. I can share flyover drone videos. The Nolechucky River, where it's normally 2 feet, and people out there paddleboarding and all that stuff, it was 30 feet.
Wow.
It just took it.
Wow.
Unicoi County Hospital, they rescued them off the roof. That's
Yeah, I
the
saw
only
that.
thing,
Yeah.
national news that I saw from these communities. They're not getting, I've not seen anything on the local about any, and I know that that's North Carolina, we're Tennessee, but the Marine Corps is the Marine Corps.
Yep.
No matter where you are, it is the United States Marine Corps. It's not the North Carolina Marine Corps. There's none of that. You're not seeing it in Southwest Virginia and Upper East Tennessee. We're not seeing anything about any military period, and other than National Guard that we heard were coming this way. As I say, I'm not ridden into those communities. I can't hardly watch it on my phone. More or less drive into it. But it's not, Joe Biden sat on a beach and communicated via telephone for 2 hours, and Kamala Harris was out there in California politicking while these places were just, and I'm not taking anything away from Florida or Georgia or anywhere else, but all of it combined, they just sat back. I mean, they just fiddled while Rome burned, so to speak. They didn't do anything, and then wants to come in and put on her official looking jacket and say, "Oh, we're going to give $750." But there's motels that they can't put people into that don't have, because the rooms have been reserved for the federal workers,
Yep.
for the FEMA workers.
Yep.
And other people are just sleeping wherever they can sleep. It's not right. This stuff is backwards, every bit of it. And I hate to throw politics into it, but something's wrong when FEMA, when who is it got on there and said FEMA was not going to have enough money
Yeah, they're
to
broke.
finish out the hurricane season.
Yeah, I
Yes.
just got that pulled up to complain about.
Yep, I had that too. Mayorkas.
And let's talk about why.
Well, I'm not sure why, because the federal
They took
fiscal
money
year
out of
starts
FEMA.
October 1st. It's just started. It's a brand new year now.
Yes, but
They took money out of FEMA for all of the immigrants.
yes, they took out $300 million for direct funding to immigrants
Right.
to help
they
them
did.
settle in the U.S. And the other three, it was $640 million. This was announced in April. This is what they did. They took money out of FEMA, and the other $340 million went to the cities via the grants for the same purpose. The big cities that are housing the immigrants. Now, where this is so, and who you gonna blame?
So when we need it, when
Which
when
we-
FEMA needs it for situations
which
like
is
this
now.
for our people,
It's not there.
it's not there.
That's what they're saying.
Hmm.
And
Right.
who's that? Mayorkas said it yesterday. He said, we don't have the money to fund
Yep.
the recovery for the Helene.
Yep.
Well, if we weren't giving these illegals phones and credit cards and hotels, we'd have that money to help our
Exactly.
citizens.
Exactly. Now they're saying they do not have money for Helene. They do not have money for the rest of the hurricane season. Well, what's going to happen when another storm blows out there and
Congress.
comes up to Florida or South Carolina or North Carolina or wherever and hits the coast? What happens when another Florence comes up this year? Or are they just going to say, sorry, folks? We apologize. There's nothing we can do about it. That is wrong. When the United States became so involved, so worried about helping everybody else. Well, where's any other country sending aid to us? I don't think so. I mean, this is wrong. Take care of your own people first. I mean, this is just when we're looking local and all you're seeing is what I saw a thing this morning and I thought, that is so wonderfully written. Somebody said, everybody wants to throw off on the dumb mountain folk. Well, the dumb mountain folk are the ones out there with ropes and ATVs pulling people out of rivers.
Correct.
While the other people are saying, well, let's see here, we need to get some engineers and we need to get, they're trying to organize, but the quote unquote hillbillies are the ones out there just casually building back the roads with their own equipment while the government's trying to figure out what to do.
And don't forget, they got to get OSHA there to make sure they do it right too.
Exactly. So that's just my rant for this morning. It's just
And to let y'all know, there is another storm. There are two of them out there. One's a hurricane now. This is going to turn and go away. That's Kirk, I think it is. Then there's Tropical Storm Leslie. This further down.
Right.
Leslie is going to become a hurricane within a day or so, and will be on a northwesterly course. And northwesterly course, if it stays on a northwesterly course, it will bring it into the eastern coast of the United States somewhere. That does not mean here. It's a big part of the eastern coast of the United States. But if it does, it would bring it in here if it stays on course.
Well, I had somebody
So-
call me about that because I'm going to Boston next weekend.
Oh,
and they
God.
said that's why it's going to interrupt my trip or strand me up there.
We're going to get her Starlink.
I need to get a sat
Starlink.
phone. Yeah,
We
somebody
need
give me a sat phone to take.
Please, let's
Yeah.
not go through
Well,
this.
I
Yeah.
think-
it just we've been through hurricanes. Hurricane Fran, and y'all might not even know this. If our son had been on the top bunk of his bed, it would have killed him.
Oh my gosh.
Hurricane Fran put an oak tree in our home.
Wow.
Yeah.
In our home. And at the time, we were purchasing that home through from the buyer. We were just paying them, and it was all coming off the price. That was a long time ago. Lesson learned. Don't ever do that again.
All right, well,
Took us
good
over
news.
a year and some lawyers and everything else. But do you know what FEMA told us?
Good luck.
Now we had an oak tree in our home.
Mhm.
Not on it, in it. And FEMA said, well, if you fill out this paperwork, which was about an inch thick, we think we can help you get a bed for your son. And Terry looked at the lady and he said, ma'am, my son doesn't have a bedroom. A bed's not going to do him any good. That was the only help that we were offered.
Madam,
And we
I've got
said, "No,
plenty of
thank you."
oak wood here. I can build him a bed. I need a room.
Right. So, they can, FEMA's on the ground. This one's on the ground. That one's on the ground. Well, yeah. Yeah. They're on the ground with reams and reams and reams of paperwork that need to be filled out, and maybe you can get something, but Kamala is going to give you $750.
Yeah, she's special.
Well, she's special, all right. She rode that little short electric school bus, and I'm not throwing off on any. I'm not trying
That's the school bus.
to say anything about anybody that's handicapped. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. Special, kind of special. Now I'm going to tell you. She most certainly is. But anyway, rant over. I'm going to go get my husband up out of bed. We're going to sit here at the table and we're going to fuss about it
Okay.
until we just get headaches. But rant over.
yeah.
Y'all have a good
Yeah,
day.
get
You
festered
too,
up for
Jennifer.
Monday and give us a call back.
Okay.
All right.
All right, honey.
All right,
Bye.
y'all take care.
Well, just recently, I just want to throw this out here. Congress recently replenished a key source of FEMA's response efforts, providing $20 billion for the agency's disaster relief fund as part of a short-term government bill to fund the government through December 20th.
Okay, but hold on. I hear what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But if Mayorkas himself, who is the boss of all this, is saying that their resources have been focused on, they say migrants, but they're
Right.
illegal immigrants. How do you know that they aren't replenishing that to continue giving money out to them and not helping our citizens? I know I'm going to get some hate on my personal Facebook page from my good old Democrat friends from back home. Y'all know I don't care, right? But
Right.
I will provide you an update, Lee. I just posted a picture of Kermit the Frog looking out a very rain wet window, like tears. And the post says, and I got this from a friend, are the hurricane victims getting free hotel rooms, phones, and loaded debit cards? Now, I think we should take a poll to see how long it will take my friends that are diehard, don't listen to nothing, and won't even provide a ounce of common sense to anything because they're so everything D behind the name. Oh, I've got one like. Who hit it? Okay, Jim Ryfinger. Yeah.
I'm sitting here and
yeah.
you're saying all of this,
Mhm.
and I'm just perplexed. I'm shocked, dismayed.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know which way to turn.
Mhm.
The first word you said, my friends, my Democrat friends back home.
These are people I went to
and-
high school with.
and
I've known
that's
since
see, I got
childhood.
lost at that
Right.
point in time.
Yeah, I know.
I-
I know, but we very hardly ever rarely talk politics for the reason that they
we
no, I don't talk it with them because they're
Oh, okay.
unbending. I can see both sides, and sometimes they've had decent points. The type of people, and I'm thinking of two in particular,
they're
and I'm
hardcore,
trying. I don't. What's worse than hardcore? I don't. Whatever that is,
extreme left wing.
beyond extreme left wing. What I don't know what that is, but like that version of Proud Boy status, I guess. I don't know what it would be called for a Democrat,
Blue
but
babies.
something. But I am telling you, by the end of the day, I will have death threats by these two for that post I just made. Guaranteed. I'll send you a screenshot when they're going to comment. I have no doubt they're going to comment, but it's true. FEMA is the Federal Emergency Management.
Act.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Federal Emergency Management. Tell me what is the emergency by giving hotel rooms, phones, and debit cards to people coming across here not legally? What is the
Who
emergency?
approved that budget line? That's all I want to know.
You already
Well,
know.
You're fired.
Getting back to what I was talking about, FEMA has the cash, has the money to meet immediate needs. But what Mayorkas was saying was they didn't have enough funding to make it through the hurricane season.
Mhm.
But Congress has gone back and allocated money to
They just
FEMA.
want more money
to
to
meet
buy
the
more
needs right
trailers that
now.
they're not going to use.
But
the
are they
problem
getting
with-
it? Because
Yes,
I've
according to the AP, yes, they are.
because I've got some people up there that I know that are actually up there working, and I know somebody living up there. And they have stated no one has seen FEMA up there. Are
No,
they there?
FEMA's not going to go and sit
You know
on
who
the ground.
FEMA is?
I
You know
know
who
who.
the people that they send out there are?
Yeah.
Then there's
They're people that stand by
Uh-huh.
during the year who
And
have
do
a legal
nothing.
pad
Mhm.
and that they
Yes.
are dispatched
Mhm.
at per diem
they're like an
to,
insurance
to
agent.
go to certain locations
Yep.
during these kinds of disasters.
Right.
They get paid to stand by.
Right.
And then they get paid
Oh, big
a
bucks.
lot of money to go to the
Big
scene. And
bucks.
meanwhile, they got other jobs.
But
That's who
$750
FEMA are.
isn't going to do nothing for nobody.
No.
And the worst part about it is the majority of these
Couple
people
rolls of
do
toilet
not
paper.
have flood insurance.
Why would they?
That's right.
Agreed.
If they do not have flood insurance, they can get up to roughly like $30,000 as disaster assistance
Well, what's
from
that gonna
FEMA.
do for 'em?
Well, wait a minute
Nothing.
now. What happens if I don't have flood insurance and I'm here and I have a disaster?
Mhm.
Do
You
I
can
get
get-
disaster relief?
You can get some disaster relief, but
That's not going to repair
but
your
it's not going
house.
to repair your house.
No.
FEMA is not
$30,000 will help me.
what
I
a
put
lot of
new
people
roof on.
don't understand. If you lose your house, well, okay, let's take the people in the mountains. God
Yeah.
bless them. Less than 2.5% had flood insurance.
Correct.
There wasn't really a need for it. Who would have thought? This thing happened. Now their homes got flooded. They lost.
Or they're gone.
Or
Some
they're
of the
gone.
houses just they don't even have houses.
So FEMA is not an agency that says,
Yeah.
okay, we're going to replace everything you had. They can't do that. They've never done that. They can give you some disaster relief. They can give you like money because that's what the disaster fund is for, but it's not going to replace. Now, if you had the FEMA flood insurance, they would replace 250,000 up to 300,000. Yeah, and replace belongings and stuff. But FEMA is like it's a federal insurance type company. So, Rayford, if we have a flood here and you lose everything, FEMA's not going to replace it.
And not only that,
That's not what
people need
FEMA
to keep
does.
in mind, Asheville is Asheville, but we're talking Old Fort, the Black
Yes.
Mountain area,
Yes.
the the Swannanoa area. These people are poor. I know because my grandparents
Yes.
came when they came from. Went to they after leaving the Highlands went to Old Fort. That's where they settled. They are poor there. A lot of people. They are not going to have the ability to rebuild. I mean, what happens to all these people up there? What happens to them? I mean, you got to understand. North Carolina has a diversity, yes, but up in the mountains, there is a lot of extreme poor up there.
Yes.
Yes,
Who's
there
going to
is.
help
Appalachia.
them?
It's called the
Yeah.
Appalachia. And
Who
there's
is
been
going to
studies on
help
that.
them?
See, that's just it. There is no agency in the world that says because you're poor and you just lost everything, we're going to replace it all. That's the sadness
But
about
the
it.
sadness is these are our citizens, and our government should be worried about them instead of these fools coming across
That's
the border.
the whole
Bottom
point.
line.
That's the whole point right there. It's we quit funding all
If we
that.
would quit voting these bastards in,
Yeah.
then we might could get something
Oh,
done.
I agree
There
100%.
we go. I bet we have a caller here who's
I'm
going
right
to
there with
probably
you.
agree with you too. Good morning. How are you? I think I know who this
Hey
is.
guys, it's Charlie.
Hey,
Hey,
Charlie.
Charlie.
I had a feeling that was you.
You know, I call into many shows. Some shows with 100 listeners, some shows with 10,000 listeners, some shows with over 1 million, views and hits. You guys might be one of my favorite shows.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Why is that?
I don't think you guys put on what's that word called airs. I think you guys are just like nice, simple individuals, human beings, and just like,
Nice.
listen, this is who we are. We're not BSers. We're not con artists. We're just
You mean
trying
common
to get through
sense?
life.
We just,
Maybe, yeah.
we just deal with common sense issues. Whether you're Democrat, Republican, black, white, pink, yellow, or green. I don't care.
Mhm.
You forgot Amish and Muslim, but that's okay. I'll hold
yeah,
I wouldn't
yeah.
hold that.
Well, I ran out of breath. I'm old.
So let me ask you guys a question.
Yes.
Live in you're in North Carolina?
Yes.
So talk to me like I'm a fourth grader. I've seen on the news this horrible destruction. I've seen on websites where they're just showing babies drowning in rivers, just horrible things happening to people. They're just dying. But I'm not seeing it in the mainstream media. Is this a part of North Carolina where you guys reside, or is this like another part of the state where you really don't know about what these people are going through?
Well, North Carolina, lengthwise, from east to west, is about 400 miles long at the farthest point. And we're on the extreme eastern side. We're near the ocean. The area you're talking about is on the extreme western end of the state. And, it's about 350 miles or so from us here to the
Not
Asheville
to
area.
interrupt you, but what's the state that borders that section?
Tennessee,
Tennessee, South Carolina, and
Virginia.
Georgia.
Yeah.
Okay.
In one spot.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
and a little bit of
Virginia.
Virginia.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Did I lose
So
you?
go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's like 4 states that border it.
So are you affected by this personally? Are you experiencing any sort of problems with this? Because I've got like 5 quick questions I want to ask you, but go ahead.
Well, personally, on this end here in the area, we are not. We did have some rough ocean as a result of it. We get rough ocean as a result of, somebody sneezing out there, but it happens. And homes are damaged, or some of them are destroyed. But no, right here, no. Now, Lee happened to be a week ago today. In fact, she had arrived a week ago yesterday in that area, right smack dab in the middle of that area, to go visit her granddaughter because it was parents and grandparents weekend or something at the college she just started. So she was there during part of that. Got back home late Saturday night.
Yeah, and I
So,
have a
yeah,
fa-
she
I
was
have a-
affected.
I have a family member that was affected, a college student up there. Yeah, he's back here now.
What's the approximate population of North Carolina?
Oh, geez.
10 million, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
It's
Yeah.
not huge,
So-
just about 10 million.
Okay, when it comes to electoral votes,
Mhm.
how many electoral votes does North Carolina
God.
have when it comes
Lee
to
Come
will
on,
know that.
my
That's Lee's
expert to my immediate left is Lee Barrett.
I'm going to guess wrong, so let me look it up
Wait,
so
what?
I can be.
Yeah, hold on.
She's looking it up. for
She
sure.
knows that she'll give.
I
Hold
just
on,
want-
can see a video. Okay, you guys should know that. Hold on, I'll look it
Well,
up.
she does. I don't.
She don't. That's her thing.
I could guess, but I don't know the exact.
Lee's our resident
What, 34 or
politician
something?
person.
I think it's a
She's
little bit.
political.
No, it's not 1 to 4.
No,
like
it's
5 or 6.
yes.
So North Carolina has hold on. North Carolina presidential elections. I can't. Okay,
North
I think
Carolina.
you. Hold on. You guys have. Wait, I can't find it. Where's it? Quick.
I know. I want to say,
I hate to get my glasses
but
on.
I
Go
don't want to
looking.
be wrong. So let
North
me look.
Carolina only allows voters. No, I'm very serious about this. I'm trying to figure out how many electoral votes you got. Okay, there are 530 electoral votes in total to win the electoral college. But hold on, well, how many votes? Where's North Carolina? How many votes do you guys have? Why can't I find this? I just typed in North Carolina. Here's the reason I'm asking this. I'm trying to figure out if the people that are okay.
We have
32 electoral-
16.
Okay.
Okay, you have 16.
Yes.
I'm curious what the demographics. Maybe you guys can research this and talk about it next week. With regards to the people that are North Carolina lose.
I wonder that.
At least,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I know. Did you guys? Okay, I don't know if you guys talked about this. Did you guys hear? And I may be wrong. Did you guys hear that FEMA is out of money and they
Yeah.
can't help North
We
Carolina?
just
We
talked
just
about
talked about
that.
that.
That's
Yeah.
what their claims
Set-
are,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, they did authorize additional money for
But I'm
FEMA.
telling you, I bet it won't go to where it needs to go. It's going to go to the immigrants coming across that border because everybody's got to feel good about themselves. Not helping the citizens, but they got to help
Yeah, a
people
lot of
that are not from here.
Charlie, a lot of the FEMA money was redirected, taken away from FEMA earlier to go to take care of the immigrants that had come across, to house them and to feed them and to do whatever. So they got a lot of the money.
North
that was
Carolina has
sent to FEMA.
16 now.
Yep. There are 16
Hey,
electoral
do you
votes.
guys remember?
Yes.
Do you guys remember? There was a movie. What was the movie called? Back in the 80s or 70s. It was about the cocaine movie where they allowed all these murderers that were released from Cuba
Yes.
into America.
Yeah, I remember that.
Was
I
that
was
Scarface?
dealing with that.
So they say, and listen, I don't know what the facts are, that the Trump campaign, they're talking about maybe 5 or hundreds of thousands of murderers and rapists that were let out of prisons from, South American countries, even China and Africa, that were allowed to come to this country. Do you guys believe that?
There were a lot.
I don't think it was
They're
I don't know
not
about
going
the
to be.
number.
They're not going to be hundreds of thousands.
But I know there was a lot.
But
Yeah. Look at the gang
let me
members
ask you a
coming
question.
across.
yes.
Well, let me ask you a question. If you were the dictator, let's say in Colombia, we all know that Colombia is notoriously known for drugs and gangs, right? We all know that, right?
Been there, yes.
Okay. So if you were the president of Colombia and you got, let's say, 5,000, 10,000, 100,000 prisoners, hardcore prisoners, gang members, killers, drug addicts, wouldn't you pretty much just want to let them out of prison and just take them to the border and say, hey, y'all have fun in America? Wouldn't you do that?
Well, back in the day, it used to be that even county sheriffs in this country, they would run people out of town on a rail, run them and take them to the county line. Do not come back into my county again.
Yeah.
Yes, so yes, they do that in other countries.
You were
It's
sheriff,
done.
You were a police officer or a sheriff, correct?
Police, yes.
Okay, so like I said, if I was the president of Brazil and I had a bunch of monsters in my jails, I'd be like, you know what? You guys, we're going to let you go. We're going to give you a bus pass. We're going to take you to the border. Enter America. Do you think that's happening?
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that disturbing when you think about it?
It's
Yes.
Do you
scary.
think for 1 second? Do you think for 1 second that Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Marcus, the Border Patrol person, do you think they've ever gone to church and said, "Dear Heavenly Father, as American citizens, we need to open up our arms and our hearts and our souls. We need to allow these disenfranchised human beings throughout the world to come to our country." You know, they've never done that, right? They only want that vote, correct? They just
Correct.
want
Correct.
that vote.
Correct.
Isn't it really sad that people they're not digesting that?
It is sad. It's very sad. What we talked about earlier today, Charlie. I'm glad you called in today. Question for you, Kamala Harris. We had a caller yesterday say, "Give her a break." She just got into this electoral process just a couple of months ago.
Don't you
When-
start with that.
she-
My head's already hurting.
Which she just got into this whole thing. Give her a break. She needs some time to develop so she could be able to answer what she would do as president. Now, what is your take on what would be your response to somebody calling and saying that to us?
Well, here's one thing that I know. It seems like Pennsylvania is going to be a key decider in who becomes the president of the United States of America.
Mhm.
I cannot articulate exactly what fracking means, but from my understanding, fracking means you take some sort of drill and you drill it into the earth, to the soil, and you extract some sort of oil and natural gas. And basically that contributes something to fuel and economy and gases. I know for a fact that Kamala Harris years ago was a deciding vote where she said specifically, I'm opposed to fracking. I know that fracking represents a lot of the men and women, and maybe even the pronouns that live in Pennsylvania. That's a way for them to make money. She's telling all them right now, I apologize, I am for fracking. Here's what I believe 100%. I believe that if she becomes president of the United States, which is going to be the destruction of our country, she's going to change her opinion within a couple months and say, listen, for now, we're not going to allow fracking. And all those idiots, not idiots, but all those people that fell for her spiel, they're going to be sitting in dirt and dust. Here's what I truly believe, and you can say I'm racist, because I'm not racist. I was actually adopted as a child, and I grew up in a black foster family. I'm not going to give too much information. Here's my point. I wrote something on Twitter earlier. I truly believe this in my heart of hearts. Barack Obama is a divider. He was a divider. I truly believe that when Michelle Obama became president, the first lady of the United States of America,
You were right the first time.
She said, this is the first time I ever feel like an American. I truly believe that there's a deep hatred for what they believe white people did to blacks. Here's an absolute fact. White people, Europeans, did horrible things to black. But who did first horrible things to black?
Black people.
Their ancestors.
Black people captured other black people and sold them
Absolutely.
into slavery. Come on, everybody!
And they never
It's
talk
a
about
given.
that. They never talk about that.
We even studied that in high school in my day. I'm really old, but it wasn't a racist
think
thing.
about it, right. Right. If you think about it, if I was a black American, I would never call myself an African American. You're a black American. I would think to myself, okay,
I'm an American.
Hold
My
on.
God, this is a
but
smelting pot.
they fail to recognize that their own people sold them into slavery. They never talk about that.
No.
They automatically just think that, the crazy white person just said, hey, we're going to Africa, you people, we're going to enslave you. White Europeans, Jews, Muslims, whatever, they did horrible things. But the people that started it were their own ancestors, but they never
They did.
acknowledged that.
They saw the almighty dollar and they took advantage of it.
Hey, can I say one last thing?
Sure.
I like your guys' show, and I wish you guys nothing but the best.
Well, thank you
Charlie,
so
we
much.
appreciate it. We appreciate your calling. You're a voice, and I'd like other people's opinions, and sometimes I may agree with you, and sometimes I may not agree with you. I'm still trying to find one of those I haven't agreed with him yet, but there's a good chance one of these days I might not agree with you.
I say stupid things. I know that I say things that maybe I should articulate a little. There truly is no difference
Yeah,
between any of us.
not at all.
The problem is they're trying to divide all of us. I've been watching the local media earlier. If I gave you my Twitter page and you saw all the viewers and the responses that I get, I see these people on MSNBC. I was watching this African American woman named Joy Reid. She's basically inciting violence. She
Damn
talked
her.
about she said people need to give Donald Trump a knuckle sandwich. Can you imagine? If I had a national TV show and I said people need to approach Barack Obama or his kids and they need to give them a knuckle sandwich or attack them, do
You would
realize
be
how quickly
arrested and charged with assaulting the president.
But I would never say that. I would never want harm on them.
Nope.
I just wish them politically, but it's just bizarre the country we live in. Hey guys, with that, I'm going to start harassing some other shows that I genuinely hate. You guys have a great weekend.
Go harass them and then tell
Have
them
a
we love
great
them.
weekend. Hey, send me your Twitter handle.
Yeah.
I can't. No, but not even my best friend knows my Twitter handle. I
Oh,
don't share with
okay.
anybody.
I'll find you.
Yeah,
Take
we'll
care,
find
guys.
you. Bye. Oh my, what a breath of fresh air at times, you know.
That's Charlie from Michigan.
Yeah.
Michigan, wasn't it? Michigan.
Michigan.
Yes.
Well, I want to report while he was talking, I was looking in Tennessee. They found a dog in a 20-foot tree that had been swept up through floodwaters. That's not how the
And
water
he's
was.
hanging on.
They got him out of the 20-foot
Yay.
tree and back reunited with his family. There's still another dog and a cat missing that the family, all three animals had been swept away.
Good
But
for one.
This dog, he's so cute.
Never
Yeah.
say die.
That's right. Was stuck up in the tree, and rescuers.
Yeah.
It was very rural. They just happened to find him, and they said it made the rescuers feel good
Oh,
because
God, yes.
all of what they've seen.
You want to
Yeah.
hear something crazy?
What?
Yesterday, I was on Amazon looking at life preserver vests for adults and for dogs.
I've got two for the dog, but they were for.
Well,
Boating.
we've got those.
We've got some.
Yeah,
We have
I
them
was.
on the boat.
boating, yeah.
I was thinking about just getting them and storing them because you look what happened there. That
Next
was
time you
just.
go to the mountains, you need to take a life jacket.
Yeah.
Well, who expected
Everybody
that?
gets it, Yeah.
And you never know when it might be us.
There you go.
Because
All right,
water
well-
starts rising. I'm putting on my vest.
Rain forecast brought to you by Community Prevention Services of Jacksonville. A lot of stuff stresses a whole lot of us out. We
Lot
hear
of
it every morning. I
stress.
mean, good gracious, Jennifer this morning, Charlie there,
Yes.
he gets stressed as well. And
Oh yeah.
but he sees, Jennifer sees,
Yes,
we all see there are issues out there. And the problem is we can't do anything about them.
right.
What can I do about the president not doing his job? What can I do about Kamala Harris not doing her job? I'm calling everybody
Stressing me.
names. What can I do about that? Nothing, honey. I got to suck it up. And when I suck it up, that causes stress.
Yeah.
If you can't do something about something that bothers you to a certain extent, that causes stress, causes you stress, causes everybody stress. If you do something about it, you can't fix it, causes stress. So what can you do about it? You can call the folks at Community Prevention Services. They'll give you a little counseling and they will work with you to develop a plan. A plan that will help you. You got to be part of that development process. Am I right?
That would be true.
You got to be part of that development process because you are what it's all about.
Mhm.
And they want to center on you. They're not going to worry about the president, the Kamala Harris, or Donald Trump, or anybody else. They're going to worry about you
Mhm.
and how you deal with things.
And sometimes it's okay to take that break from social media. I had to tell that to a client yesterday in a stressful, they were stressed out about all the coverage of this. I turn it off. You got to stop because they
Shut
were
her down.
very stressed. Yeah.
Shut down. We all get stressed. We just need to know when to step back and shut things
Mhm.
down and go to the beach and sit down on the beach where there's and leave your cell phone in the car.
Right.
unless you're going to the mountains of North Carolina. You can get a waterproof case for
I'm
it.
talking to a friend that's in the mountains right now that was told to evacuate. Let's see, ship it
Already?
all in.
They got-
This was last week.
Oh, last week. Okay. Community Prevention Services are located right here in Jacksonville, 918 Henderson Drive. They're locally owned and operated. No need to drive all across the state to get some help. They're right here. They're counselors on staff. They actually care about you and your issues. Give them a call. Set up a time to meet and get the ball rolling. 910-353-0972. 910-353-0972. Offshore today and Saturday and Sunday. All 3 days this weekend, Kelly.
Yep.
It's pretty much an identical forecast. Northeasterly winds 10 to 15 knots, seas 3 to 5 feet, 2 to 3 near the beach. Sounds and rivers a moderate chop. That said, I'll tell you, I don't care what the forecast, long range, short range, or whatever says the day before and the day of, check the National Weather Service marine forecast to see if there's any update. Things can change quickly.
Yes.
That's what you need to be doing.
Yeah.
National Weather Service at the Newport office provides the latest marine forecasts along with updates as needed.
Today, mostly sunny, high of 81. Tonight, mostly cloudy, low of 63. Tomorrow, partly sunny, high of 82. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy, low of 61. And on Sunday, sunny, high of 81. It's a great forecast.
It's looking good.
And I happen to say on Wednesday night, the low is 53.
I love it.
Oh, the windows are going to be open.
I
The doors are
love
going to be
it.
open. Y'all got here. You better bring your spurs.
I love it. My kind of weather.
Oh, it
That's
looks
my
like
weather.
fall's creeping in towards the middle to the end of
Oh,
next
bad
week.
thing. The western part of the state is
get
they're
cold.
looking at very, very.
Yeah.
It's going to dip,
They're asking for donations for warm
blankets
clothes
and-
blankets. Yeah.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
etc.
Well, okay. And we have a caller. Good morning.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Where?
Phil, how are you?
Hey,
Where you been? You been hiding out?
No, I'm trying to stay warm. It's 54 degrees here right
Oh.
this morning.
Trying to stay warm.
Well, it's
They got
64
down to
here.
49 last night.
Got the what?
49.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
I love it.
But I'm calling you guys' opinion about something.
Okay.
My computer.
There's a 12-year-old boy in the town I'm probably about 20, 30 minutes from Lancaster, Ohio. He got arrested.
Hmm.
Kids were saying that he was telling them that he was going to bring a bomb to school.
Okay.
He got arrested.
Mhm.
One of the kids that basically told on him was his bully and everything.
Okay.
And the sheriff's department and the local law enforcement arrested him. And not what I'm getting from what I read and everything from the mother, that they did not really do an investigation and everything like that. You know, you only get one-sided from the mother, not really
Sure.
from the police department, the school system, and stuff like
All
that.
right, what was this charge?
I
Probably
think-
communicating the threat from Matt.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask. If they charge him with communicating a threat, then somebody on the other end, I mean, I can say, you know, I can walk up to Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold, I'm going to kick your butt. And do you think that he's going to take that seriously?
But I think it's because now, even here, because I saw on JCPC, it's because it was toward the school.
I understand. If by the same token, I'm a 12-year-old kid, and I see out there, you know what? I think I just need to blow this place up.
Yeah.
Is that communicating a threat? Does
Yes.
anybody seriously believe it?
Yes.
Today,
Do they investigate it? Yes. Do they seriously believe it and just go out and arrest immediately, or do they investigate first?
Here they're
read what I have read.
They're removed
in
from school
local
immediately.
news,
Remove is one
did
thing.
a story
And
on
charged.
it. Basically, the mother got on the radio. I mean, the news. It said that they did not investigate it. They just arrested him. She could only speak to him for 5 minutes and everything like that. And everything. But, you know, come back to what happened all last month, the month prior to that with the schools threat, you know, the school system's got to take action instead of reaction to something. That's my, you know, a lot of people's like, well, you should have
investigators before they arrest somebody. Like, well, they did, you know, when they arrested the kid, they started the investigation then because he was supposed to, it happened last Friday and the kid got arrested and everything. It's like, what if he did have to bring a bomb or a gun to school and they didn't do nothing? Then they're going to say, well, the school should have done this or the school should have done that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why I've been off of social media, because I'm tired of the situation. I even quit watching the news.
Okay, let's talk about the number one man in the country. You know, the president, whoever that person's going to be. The number one president, number one person in the country is our president, right?
Yes.
And there are threats that are made, so-called threats that are made every day. I could just shoot that guy, and they report it. Somebody reports it. Somebody overhears it. Secret Service investigates. They don't go out and grab the guy up and arrest him right away. They investigate first.
Mm-hmm.
And then if there's any substance to it, or if there's some dude drunk at a bar somewhere in the middle of the night, say, I could just shoot that dude or whatever. Good God, we don't have enough jails for that.
Nope.
So, sometimes I understand the need for caution. That we got to do it because of the history that's going along with this, not with the president, but with the kids. But yes. But an actual arrest is a very significant step. Come in, let's sit down, let's talk. Now, during the course of that, in what we call an interview or interrogation, I call it an interrogation. Other people call it an interview.
I call it interrogation.
But anyway, during that period of time, I may develop enough information to say, okay, yeah, you did this, and I get a feeling for what you're talking about. And okay, yeah, you're under arrest now. Stand up, turn around, put your hands behind your back.
Mm-hmm.
That happens on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that, it's still on. It's just like a sheriff's department or police department. They're not going to give you every detail what's going on because it's an active investigation.
Sure.
They don't want people to know what's going on. Because if they get other, you say, okay, yes, that leads good, and no, that leads not good.
Yeah. Well, if there are other individuals involved, I understand all of that. And then they will want to get as much information as possible.
Yes.
But the arrest, detention, detaining, having chats, having conversations, interrogations, whatever you want to call it. That's what you work with. Just to go willy-nilly, this dude over here said, this guy said he's going to blow up the school. Okay.
But I think that they've already probably looked into it. This is my, they probably looked into it.
I hope they have.
And they had enough evidence to arrest the kid. That's my thinking.
I hope they have. That would be the process that should be taken.
Yes.
The arrests that have been made in the past for a kid who has pointed his finger at another kid and had his thumb raised up like it's a hammer on a revolver, and they arrest this kid for it. Oh God, you and I would be in prison for the rest of our lives,
stupid,
wouldn't we,
yeah.
Phil?
Yeah.
Yes.
That is stupid.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
But that's, parents need to look at,
yes.
about the situation. Even everybody else, when the police department, sheriff's department, or any law enforcement, you got any profession, you got your good and your bad.
Yeah, of course you do.
There's more good than there's bad apples and oranges.
Of course. And then some people are going to take it to the extreme. And I don't know, is this town a very small town?
Yeah.
It's about 40,000 people.
Okay, small town, small police department. Don't know how trained they are, beyond the basic law enforcement training. Don't know how experienced, forget the training, experienced the individual was who made this arrest. It may have been out of a precaution. Okay, I did this. This is happening. Wow, God, he's crossed the line.
They have to have an associate's degree in law enforcement. Then they go to the county.
Uh-huh.
Everything. And the county is a long process.
That gets you the knowledge of the same thing that when
That
you
gets
take
you
a,
the book stuff.
that's the same thing as taking driver's ed and then
Uh-huh.
going out and getting your driver's license. That's what you know. You ain't Mario Andretti.
Some people think they are. I hear
Uh-huh.
you.
I would be like Jimmy Johnson.
Whoever.
Yeah, next week is supposed to be in the 60s here.
Okay. As a high or a low?
That's a
That's the
high.
high.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
supposed to be 70s here, huh?
Yeah.
Kelly, next week.
Towards the end of next
Yeah, we'll
week,
be
we
all
got
right.
to check where.
Oh, I love it.
I'm going to Boston. We'll see what's going to be up there.
You're going to Boston. That's what hurricane.
I'm telling you, it's
It's
going
a blizzard.
Yeah.
You might as well. Why don't you go ahead and get yourself a ticket by way of Chicago so you can fly that away and come back here?
I'm not flying. I'm driving.
She'll
Oh.
get stranded.
I have my car.
You remember those stories?
We just had one of those. We'd probably need to fill her car with a bunch of emergency stuff, right?
I've got
Shovels,
plenty, if you
blankets,
need any.
lanterns.
Mhm.
You're going to get a trailer. You need to pull a trailer.
Pull a trailer up
Yeah,
there.
because you're going to need it.
Take some buckets.
Tesla. At least you're not driving an electric vehicle.
Oh,
I would never. I'm gonna tell you. Somebody'd have to be holding me hostage.
water and electricity.
Yeah.
The
People
fifth
I've
grade.
seen here in North the park that I drove back and forth to Moorhead all the time. I see more electric vehicle here than in North Carolina.
We got more common sense here. Come on, think about
Yes,
it.
because we don't want to drive them. But, you know, when there's a power outage, you can't charge your car. I
Yep.
mean, what are you gonna do if it rains? It
You
floods.
can from down power lines. You just hook them up to your car.
But then look at that house that burned to the ground because the EV caught on fire. No, not gonna have one. I'll use a horse and buggy before I'll have an EV. I'm telling you.
I think make a fire truck out of electric.
There you go. Oh,
I
wow.
want a magic
They
carpet.
got a few Alpha motors now, low engines that are electric, and I'm like, no,
Nope.
no,
No. Not with
and
water.
no.
No.
That's like I'm looking at lawnmowers. You don't believe how many keep popping up. They're electric. I don't want an electric lawnmower.
No, you don't. I know somebody's house
What?
caught on fire from that too.
Oh, I mean, an electric lawnmower.
You
I
don't
get
want it.
halfway through and run out. Meow.
This way you got extra
So
batteries.
I'm just going to get goats.
Who goes with
I had a
a
good one.
Phil, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Have a
Thanks,
great
Phil.
weekend.
Have a
Thanks,
great
Phil.
weekend.
Bye-bye.
Good hearing from you. All right, we're gonna go down south to the land of the hurricanes. We got two systems out there. One is Kirk. One is hurricane, and it's turning towards the north, and then the northeast, and then the north. It can go away. It's not going to mess with us here. Now the other one is the one that's a little south of there, and it's called Tropical Leslie right now. It's going to increase in size. It's got, 50, 60 mile per hour winds right now. But by sometime Saturday, it's going to be a hurricane, probably Saturday afternoon, according to the National Hurricane Center. It doesn't have in the immediate forecast up through next Wednesday. It doesn't have anything with the M letter on it. That means major. So it will be less than 110 mile per hour sustained winds, as was Helene predicted to be. Just to throw that out there, things change, okay, over days and whatever. And when you're forecasting out to as far as next Wednesday, a whole heap of things can change. Stuff coming off of the U.S., stuff coming up from the Caribbean, stuff coming in from every which direction. We don't know what's going to happen. Maybe some of those missiles that Iran keeps shooting is going to come out there and create problems for it. But anyway, we're keeping our eye on it. We'll post any significant updates throughout the weekend. And so we'll do that on Facebook. I'll keep you up to speed if there's anything that you need to know that we see right now. It's okay. We just don't know beyond Wednesday where it's possibly going to go. And I will not be posting any of the spaghetti models. They are more wrong than they are right.
There's been a lot of talk, but it's too
More
soon.
wrong
Too soon.
than they are right.
Too soon,
Day
but-
in and day out.
I do believe you should keep an eye on it, though.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
you've got the opportunity during this beautiful weekend to go out and do some
Have
good
fun.
stuff.
Have fun. And, just make a note of
I need to
what
do that.
I have that I need to probably get ready to tie down. It's not going to
Right.
be next week.
Right.
It's going to be the week after. unless it's.
I have failed
picks up
this summer.
speed.
Usually every summer I go at the beginning of the season. I take care of all that stuff. I have failed
Just
this
make a
year.
note in your head, if nothing else, but write it down on paper would be better, so other family members will remember it for you, or remind you of it. Just make sure you know what you're going to do, and have different categories. I mean, different stages. If this thing's going to come in as a Category 1 storm, are you going to evacuate? Always evacuate when the man tells you so. When hey, it's time to get out of the beaches, off the beaches, that will be the first evacuation order along our coastal areas.
Yeah.
When they tell you you need to evacuate, North Topsail Beach, Sneeze Ferry, Surf City, Dare County, there's a reason for
Oh,
something
yes.
can happen,
Yes.
and you don't want a part of it. And the thing is, you newcomers here, newcomers. Back in the 90s, there was a big storm. I almost did something bad, dirty word. It was a big storm
she was.
coming down towards the Brunswick area.
Yeah.
There's an island there called Bald Head Island. It's a very ideal place. There's by boat, unless you come in by helicopter. But that's the way people live there around.
Right.
There's just a lot of vacation homes
Crazy.
and stuff.
Yeah.
But they got the infamous. They closed everything. They shut the ferries down. They shut all boat traffic back and forth. They closed the island. One guy was not living. Said, "I'm just going to stay here. It's going to be. I don't think it's going to be that bad." And the infamous call to 911 from him in the middle of the night, as the storm was bearing down on Bald Head Island. Okay, this is my family. This is where you can reach them. Would you please let them know in case something happens? I just don't think I'm going to make it through. This storm is a lot worse than I thought it would ever be. And for about 20 minutes or so, he talked to the 911 dispatcher, and he wished that he had listened to people.
Right.
It's lucky he made it,
Right.
moved.
Whew.
He wasn't
Okay.
going to do that again.
Yeah.
But anyway, if they tell you to get off of wherever you are,
The mountain.
better safe than
Right.
sorry.
Exactly.
You could, I mean, even the stress for not getting off and you surviving, and with all the stuff that's happening around you, I'm not sure you want to live with the stress level.
Or telling you not to go and you did anyway.
They won't do that again either, will you?
Nope. Mm-mm.
So
Nope.
there are little things that you need to think about. Your garbage cans, look outside. How many you got? Where are you going to put them?
In the garage.
You got a garage.
Good
Okay, put them in there.
place.
I got a garage, but what am I going to do with my car? If I leave my car outside,
There's
one of these
plenty of
trees
room.
is going to fall down. Okay, just make room in the garage, or tie your garbage cans down.
Now's a good time to get out there and straighten out your garage this weekend.
Find out where
See,
you can
there
put
you go.
stuff. It's okay.
I
You
need
can
to.
you can secure stuff there for a day or
Right.
2, 3, whatever. Next thing is, if it is coming our way, one of the things on that checklist, if it's going to be looking like it is 2-3 days out, go
Mhm.
to your freezers, your refrigerators and your freezers. Turn them to the lowest temperature setting. You
Right.
want to make that freezer as hard, the ice cream, and
No
everything else
worry there.
in there,
Ice cream.
as hard as you can get it. That way it will last longer. Then,
Right.
my friends, get all of the gallon or quart or whatever kinds of bottles that you've got,
Mm-hmm.
fill them up with about 3/4 or a little more full of water. You
Right.
need a little room to expand,
Right.
because water when it freezes expands. And you put those in on the top of all of the stuff that you've got in your
Mm-hmm.
freezer. If your freezer is full of stuff, you don't have to worry about that. But fill up the vacant space with either water that you are going to freeze, or go to the store and buy bags of ice and put on top of it. You'll use them sooner or later, right?
That's right.
But the cheap way to do it is my way. Get the bottles, fill them up with water, and freeze them. They'll fill up the space. Air is not a good thing to have in a freezer.
You know, I used to do that, and I used to fill up all my Tupperware containers, the plastic ones, and put in there. And I found the easiest thing for me is to go buy a box of gallon size Ziploc
you
bags,
can do that too.
fill it up with water, and
Just
just put them all in there.
Well, now when you
You
do
don't,
that,
you have to leave space.
when you do that, a few days after everything is secured,
Mm-hmm.
when you take those Ziploc bags out, don't leave them in the. Just be careful because
Oh, I
that-
know. I've,
ice freezing, expanding, and those fragile Ziploc bags, they will tear.
I've not
Ice,
had
no
that
problem.
happen yet.
Ice,
But
no
it
problem.
can.
But when they thaw out, it may be a problem.
Well, I
Just
usually
for your
take them and
information.
put them in the sink and just let them thaw out afterwards. But you can also take them and crush the ice in there and throw it back in your ice maker while your ice maker's trying to catch up and make ice.
You
See,
can do
so
that too.
there's
There
so
are
many
lots of
different
little
ways.
tips there, and
Yes.
we'll keep giving you some stuff. And I
Yes,
want to
we
talk
will.
about one that we were talking about last night on the handband. So we'll talk about that probably
Yes.
next week, and because I'll get more information tomorrow at the meeting.
Right.
Okay, y'all.
Awesome.
Have a great weekend. Weather-wise, it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. But if you're going out on a boat or anything like that, just check the weather throughout the weekend. If I hear anything that's happening, we'll.
I'm taking the granddaughter shopping, so wish me luck.
Oh
She
Lord,
needs some clothes.
Nice.
she's changing sizes, right?
Yeah, she's growing up.
Uh,
So yeah, she's out of college for another week. So
Yep, all that mess out there.
all that mess out there, but it's okay.
Okay, have a great weekend. Stay safe, and plan for the worst, hope for the best. That's the
That's
best you
right.
can do.
Exactly.
We'll see you on Monday morning. You're
Ah.
live, you're local. We're right Monday
real
through
people.
Friday with real people. We like our
That's
people.
right.
With people, and we are always awake and never awoke. We'll see you Monday. Have a great weekend.